How Flex Wheeler became the Sultan of Symmetry. Wheeler often described himself as a martial artist first, bodybuilder second. In childhood, he dreamed of making a career in martial arts, but life had other plans for him. He started to lift weights around the same time he learned martial arts, and competed in his first bodybuilding contest at the age of 19. 2 years later, he got first place at the U18 Mr. America. His nickname, Flex, comes from his outstanding flexibility. As far as his bodybuilding career goes, he just went with the flow. Flex said in an interview for Generation Iron that he was very skinny as a child. One day some bodybuilders from his city told him that he had great genetics and pushed him to join a local gym. Back then, Flex had no idea that one could make a career in bodybuilding. He rather saw it as a way to become more disciplined and avoid the problems that many teens have, like joining a gang or dealing drugs. Although he was a late bloomer, he gained the confidence needed to pursue a bodybuilding career after winning his first contest. Wheeler enjoyed being a bodybuilder in the first few years of his career, but later he realized that it was a job in itself, one that allowed him to make a living and pay the bills. Even so, he was motivated enough to give his best and reach his full potential. As he told Generation Iron, "When you switch from being an athlete to taking care of yourself and your family, it changes everything. It changes your whole mentality and the way you look at things. Somehow it steals away the love of the game because you find out that it's a business behind it." His childhood was a nightmare. Flex Wheeler has made a reputation for himself as one of the toughest bodybuilders. Perhaps it's his rough childhood that contributed to his personal development and motivated him to fight for his dreams. The bodybuilding legend said in an interview for London Real that he was molested as a child. He decided to share these experiences in his book to motivate others who may find themselves going through the same struggles as he did. Things just happen. Everything that you have done to get you here got you here to the person you are, to be able to do what you do. Flex Wheeler for London Real. Flex has also been bullied in school due to dyslexia. These traumatic experiences resulted in suicidal tendencies, but he didn't give up. Instead, he started to practice martial arts and channel his energy into sports. He started out as a police officer. As discussed earlier, the 55-year-old athlete wasn't interested in professional bodybuilding right from the start. He actually worked as a police officer when he was younger. However, his passion for sports took over. After winning his first competition, Flex focused solely on bodybuilding and made a name for himself. Wheeler has faced major setbacks. Flex has faced major challenges in his life, starting with a near-fatal car accident that took place in 1994. He sustained severe injuries to 2 cervical vertebrae, which forced him to start all over. 5 years later, he was diagnosed with a hereditary kidney condition. These issues worsened over the next few years, forcing him to undergo a kidney transplant in 2003. His sponsors dropped him instead of showing their support. Unfortunately, the problems didn't stop here for Flex. In 2019, he had part of his right leg amputated due to circulatory difficulties. The champion is documenting his recovery process on Instagram, so you might want to check it out. Flex Wheeler's training routine. Flex has always been a fan of old-school workouts. His training routine consisted of heavy lifting with low reps and was largely based on progressive overload. In a 2009 interview for Idai Makaya Publications, Wheeler said that it's possible to achieve over 80% of your bodybuilding potential by following basic training principles. He stresses the importance of gradually increasing the weight lifted and using compound movements to build mass. In his opinion, the best exercises for hypertrophy and strength include classic moves like the squat, deadlift, pull-ups, rows, and presses. He recommends performing no more than 3 sets of each movement. Calf raises, bicep curls, ab work, and other isolation exercises can further shape your physique, says Flex. Wheeler used basic movements to gain mass and strength. His back training routine, for example, included one-arm cable rows, seated cable rows, chin-ups, and back extensions. Back in the 90s, he didn't have access to the fancy machines that are now available in most gyms, and yet, he managed to build a remarkable physique. Wheeler's approach to workout nutrition. As far as his diet goes, Wheeler is trying to keep fit and eat clean most of the time due to his kidney problems. Stan Efferding, one of his trainees, said in an interview for Muscle and Fitness that Flex increased his calories, meal frequency, and training volume before competitions. His pre-contest diet included 6 meals a day, with 6 to 8 ounces of meat and 1 serving of carbs per meal. About 2 weeks later, Wheeler decided to increase his portion sizes. 4 weeks later, Efferding had 8 daily meals. This approach was meant to elevate his metabolism and preserve lean mass. At the same time, it trained his body to handle more food and withstand the demands of heavy lifting. Flex also taught his student how to pose and asked him to practice for 30 minutes each night until he was standing in a pool of sweat. Never stop fighting for your dreams. Flex Wheeler hasn't had an easy life. As a child, he was abused and bullied. Later, he had severe injuries and health problems that forced him to start all over. Despite these challenges, he became a bodybuilding legend and built a legacy that will inspire generations of athletes. As he says on his Facebook page, "Remember, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent." The 55-year-old champion doesn't think he's perfect. On the contrary, he believes that there's always room for improvement. However, he encourages athletes to strive for perfection and give their best. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection we can catch excellence. Flex Wheeler, Facebook. We strongly recommend you to watch Dare to Dream, the Flex Wheeler story, or read his book to find your motivation. In the meantime, check out these crazy workouts of the 70s, which have inspired Flex and other bodybuilding legends. Most importantly, don't give up your dreams, no matter what you're going through right now. As Flex said, it's your experiences that make you who you are. How do you feel about Wheeler's philosophy on life, training, and personal development? Would you like to share anything about him? We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts.